Hey guys, I'm Sammyboy, and this is my guide to mid lane psychology. Mid lane for me is my favorite role by far, and I honestly love playing mid lane. It used to be kind of a pure 1v1, although it's less so nowadays, but it's still definitely the lane where you can single-handedly win your team the game and is, at least for me, the most fun to play. And you can do a ton of different things and you can make a ton of stuff happen on the map, and you're kind of the pace setter of the game and you decide kind of what's going to happen in the game. You should definitely have a mindset going into the mid lane of what can I do in this game and how can I get the most out of what I can do. And looking at like, am I going to get the most out of the game if I gank? Am I going to get the most out of the game if I just pressure the mid laner super hard? What can I do in the game that I can make the most happen on the map? I want to have the biggest impact in the game. And that's kind of what I look for when I go into the mid lane. I'm like, I want to be the person in the game that has the biggest impact. And there is some pressure when you're playing position 2. I think whenever you lose a pub, people are going to blame you. They're going to be like, oh, you didn't gank enough, you didn't do this enough, you didn't, crush your lane enough. It's kind of just having to deal with that and kind of trying to live up to those expectations and play best you can and make the most stuff happen on the map and have the biggest impact, like I said. It's really important that when you're going to the mid lane, you kind of avoid tilting. I know personally, when I have 2 supports sit in my lane and, just prevent me from doing anything in the game, I feel really tilted, and I definitely tilt a little bit. It's trying to avoid that and realize that, okay, even though they're sitting in my lane, other stuff is happening on the map, and it's totally okay. As well as kind of understanding your matchup. Am I supposed to win my lane? Am I fine with what I'm getting? Can I come back? Can I jungle? And this is really important because to use an example that I've seen a lot and when I've been coaching personally is I'll have players that maybe win their lane. For example, there was a person that played Shadow Fiend versus a Storm Spirit. And he won his lane. He had 60 CS at 10 minutes to the Storm's 35 or 40. But I looked at that lane and I was like, yes, you won your lane, but that's a lane that you could have dominated. He decided that he wanted to go maybe Wraith Bands and he wanted to rush a bunch of items and just kind of farm the lane. Where I was looking at that lane and I'm like, okay, if you hit level 3 and you get boots of speed really quickly, you can completely destroy that Storm Spirit. That Storm Spirit has to jungle at level 3 if you go boots of speed. And so it's not only about am I going to win my lane, but also how much can I win my lane and how effectively can I pressure the enemy mid laner and how much can I destroy this guy. How much can I really win the lane. And understanding that, okay, maybe some matchups I'm not going to be able to do that. Sometimes on Shadow Fiend, if I'm versus Queen of Pain, I'm never going to be able to zone him out of the lane. I just do want to go Wraith Bands and make a Rakila, and I want to just farm the lane. But sometimes versus maybe Ember Spirit or Storm Spirit, if I just rush boots, I can destroy the lane. I can really pressure the enemy mid laner completely, and I can prevent him from having any CS at 10 minutes. And that goes along with having to push your advantage and knowing that, okay, the supports are showing in the top lane, I want to push this mid laner out of this lane. I want to prevent him from farming. I want to really, destroy the mid laner. And I always go into mid lane with the perspective of, I want to, like I said, have as much impact as possible. I want to be the most impactful player in the game. That said, you can also kind of get a little bit of mind games going as well in the mid lane, especially. There's definitely types of players in the mid lane. If you're a really aggressive player, I can use maybe Sumail as an example, or if you're kind of a more defensive player, a player like Anna, for example, who used to play for OG. He was a very defensive mid laner. He played Alchemist, he played heroes that just kind of wanted to farm and they wanted to go into the jungle, they wanted to get their items and then play in the mid game. Whereas Sumail would play these super aggressive heroes. He'd constantly be wanting to push the enemy mid laner, get solo kills, play really aggressive. So there's definitely different types of players and you want to be playing, kind of figure out what type of player you are and what type of heroes might fit that role for you, but also figuring out how that can affect your game and how, maybe if the enemy mid laner is constantly playing super aggressive on you, maybe the supports aren't behind him, and maybe your supports can easily wrap around and kill him. Same thing can be said if you're playing super aggressive all the time, then it's really easy for your supports to wrap around that tower and to gank him because he's not going to notice. Whereas if you're playing super defensive and then all of a sudden you start playing aggressive for no reason, the enemy mid lane is going to look at that and be like, oh, okay, why is he playing aggressive now? I must be getting ganked. Something must be going on. And also kind of just understanding how important it is for you to trade farm, how important it is for you to get farm compared to the enemies, what your job is in the game, stuff like that. But definitely mid lane is kind of the lane where it's like, if you do really well and you're able to kind of dominate the lane and you're able to have the most impact in the game, it's easily the most fun lane to play in Dota. And there's definitely those games where you just get destroyed in the mid lane, but I think mid lane is one of the easiest lanes to look at failure and learn from it. Because if you get destroyed in the mid lane, you can look at that replay and you can look back and you can be like, okay, what happened? Why did he completely destroy me? What was he doing? Oh, he was pulling creeps like this. Oh, he was doing this. He was doing this. And look at the lane and you can learn so much just by losing your lane, kind of having a failure when you lose your lane. And then you can look at the game and you can be like, oh, maybe I should have ganked here, maybe I should have done this, I should have done that. And you can improve your game constantly and get better and better and better. And that's partially why I love the mid lane so much and why I really like it, not just because it's super exciting, but also because you can learn a lot from it and you can constantly get better and better. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure to check out the rest of the middle lane course.